Well, hopefully you watched the last video that I put out on the fallen oak, and that presented an opportunity to do some uncommon sampling, shall we say. Inside the oak was a squirrel's drey. I don't think it was a bird's nest, and the material is quite new anyway, so there may well not be a deal in it. But we're going to find out today. We're going to sort through this healthy carrier bag full of material and just see exactly what we've got, if anything at all. Now, I'm not just showing you my superbly manicured fingernails. There is a beetle in this shot, and it's just going around the top of this pot here now. I've put a scale in just so you can appreciate how small this beetle is, and there are smaller, but this one is about 1.25 mil at maximum, really. And I do know what this one is. There are a number of similar sized and similar looking beetles, but this has quite a distinctive sort of almost teardrop shape. And this is Squirrel lateralis. It's a member of the Corallophidae family. And this is pretty much as big as Corallophidae get in the UK, from what I believe. But if I tap it out, it's on its back at the moment, it'll soon upright itself. I'll give it a hand. There we go. So you can see just the size of this, but you can't see the head much on these, and that's because the head is under a shield, which the pronotum acts as like a shield. So unless the beetle's moving around like this, the head just doesn't show. It's a monster, isn't it, that? There are a number of Sherwood Forest records, but this is a species that really will only be found by coleopterists and people doing invertebrate surveys. I thought it was going to fly then, so we'll pot this up because I want to see if I can get some more photographs. If not, you'll have to have one of the poor ones that I've got in stock. But apart from that, there's not much turning up. There's a spider, Zora spinamana, which I was quite surprised to find. That's normally a spider of the leaf litter layer. And saying that I've got an unidentified ligated bug, which may well be Drymus brunnius. But we'll carry on and see what we can get. And look what's just plopped out of this sample. Now, I have had a look at this, a good look at this, and this isn't the hoped for species, one of the rarities, and it's turned out of all things to be Cherney's simicoides. And it's here, look. This is a fair size for a false scorpion. Very soon it will start to shift, but it was just in amongst this mixture. There's a lot of sort of dry grass and moss in here, which was obviously the lining of the drey, and this came out. But this is a species of false scorpion that you'd find under bark, and I was hoping that it might be one of the other rarer species that do inhabit old bird nests and mammal nests. However, it isn't. So this is Cherney's simicoides, and it's just starting to become active. It's a decent size for a false scorpion. I'll just try and keep that there. Quite chunky. And in terms of size relation to the body, the claws, the pincers, are huge things. Always normally found under bark, so whether this has been disturbed when the tree fell and it's took cover within this squirrel's drey, I don't know. But I say any record of a false scorpion is a welcome record. We still don't have many in Nottinghamshire. Purely nobody's looking for them. They're absolutely super things. Let's just guide that away before it causes trouble. But this one's playing quite nicely. No matter what sample I take to sort through, if it contains a false scorpion, I'm very happy. I must admit, I absolutely love these. They're great little invertebrates. And they're becoming quite popular now. More and more people are becoming interested, and it has to be said that is largely down to social media, especially Facebook and also Twitter. It's highlighted invertebrates, lesser recorded invertebrates like false scorpions. And I like to think that Dillis and myself have done the same, especially in Nottinghamshire, as regards illustrating the species of false scorpions found in Nottinghamshire. There's still probably several species to be found in Nottinghamshire yet. But these are an absolute joy. And they're not just confined to woodland, you can find them under the bark on isolated oaks. Always worth looking for, but all my records currently have come from Sherwood Forest. So that's Journey's semicoides. And that really is a little beauty. Now we've got something else actually. I've gone through handful after handful of samples and found nothing since Journey's semicoides. I say nothing because this is a second example of what I've found here, and this is just underneath. This is a spider and it's not going to be easy to see. Hopefully it will stay still. It's a spider that I have featured on the channel before. I just need to try and get it in the picture. You may well have just seen it dart then. There. That is Mastigosa macrophthalma. Quite a mouthful to say, I must admit. And it's rare. This is Red Data Book 3, and I'm going to have to refine this. There's very little colour to them. It's there just in the centre of that leaf. But I'm going to have to put a number of photos in here while I talk about this, because this is a spider that likes it fairly dark, and I'm quite surprised to find it at height, which technically this squirrel drey was, because normally this is a spider, although it is rare, it is an easy find at Sherwood Forest, I must admit. It's Red Data Book 3, so it's quite special, and it is fairly colourless, shall we say. It doesn't have anything going for it at all, but if you catch it in the right light, then it can show a beautiful sort of purple bloom to the legs. But there's no good using flash, because that will drown any coloration out. I'll see if we can find it again. Yes, there it is. Look, it's just there. It's just at the side of that. But this is quite an interesting spider, because it's associated with ants, and especially Lassis brunnius, but it can't associate with Lassis brunnius in Sherwood Forest, because Lassis brunnius has not occurred. I don't think there are any records of Lassis brunnius in Nottinghamshire, and there certainly is no records of Lassis brunnius from the Sherwood Forest area. The only other species that it may well have associated with at one time was Lassis fuliginosus, which is a beautiful heart-shaped, quite a large black ant. And there's only one record, there's a historical record, or a historical claim, should I say, for Lassis fuliginosus in Sherwood Forest. But this spider, at Sherwood at least, has no association with ants at all. It's none of the red ants, neither Myrmica ruginoides or Myrmica rubra, build their nests close to where this is found. And this species of spider is usually found within leaf litter and wood detritus, often quite damp conditions, at the base or inside ancient oaks. So I was quite surprised. There's two that I've found so far. They make a little sheet web in amongst the leaf litter, and this one's a female. I have potted one up, which I think is an immature male, because the male has wonderful punks which extend way back over the head. And there she is, look. It's not much to look at. Well, this is the last of the sample. This is the dregs at the bottom of the bag. I have just added a third Mastigosa macrophthalma, which also appear to be an immature male. And apart from a good number of young Porcellio-scable woodlice, it's been devoid of a lot of inverts. Very few spiders, and I'm quite surprised at that. I was hoping for the odd lignifid type spider, maybe even the mythological Medium Midas. There's a species that I must seek out. But there appears to be nothing in this sample. But once again, it's little reward for a good hour or so's sorting through. But if everything was easy to find, and I've said this before, half the fun, most of the excitement would be taken out of it. And apart from doing it for fun and the excitement of finding something rare, the main reason I do this is to add more records to the county's database. But not many will be going in the county's database from this bag.